You know what's kind of crazy? I really feel like we are standing on the precipice of actually becoming more like that game Syndicate that released back in the 90s. Not the 2012 one. That one was kind of weird, honestly. But what I mean is this: we're watching multinational corporations literally go around and hire insider informants to infiltrate each other multinational corporation to find out what secrets they're working on, to then control the actual flow of information and then increase their reach across the entire planet. Yeah, it's getting to that point, which is kind of scary when you think about it. Deus Ex and Syndicate were not supposed to be manuals, they were supposed to be works of fiction. Yet for some reason, we keep crawling closer and closer to that Blade Runner askew future. And it's not going to be the cool kind where you wear a duster and then walk below neon lights. No, it's going to be the dystopian kind. The kind where everything is overly expensive, things are out of control, and even at the same time, massive multinational corporations really don't give a about you. What they care about is increasing their bottom line, even by having fake IOUs. So how does all of that play into today's video? Well, it's pretty simple. You see, we've seen a couple of things going around recently, especially with the actual RAM crisis that PC gamers and now soon console gamers are going to be dealing with. Having to go through and pay exorbitant amounts of money for any sort of component, watching DDR5 prices increase exponentially, watching DDR4 prices of RAM also increase too, and now DDR3 PCs are becoming the new hotness once again. We're basically regressing in technology and actual ownership of hardware and local computing power, all because major companies like Nvidia, Microsoft, and etc. want to go around and create their large language models and even use their AI and implement that into everything. But I think the crazier part is watching every single company on the face of the earth go down and beg for RAM from the big three suppliers: Samsung, SK Hynix, and even Micron, who left the consumer gaming space. And the thing is, it's actually working, because apparently Microsoft themselves had a pretty massive breakthrough with one of those providers. And that could be a huge impact, not only with what Microsoft is doing with the next generation of consoles, but even then what could be happening with Windows itself and even the gaming industry. But I think what everybody is missing is what's happening with China and companies like CXMT. According to Tom's Hardware back in December of last year, saying this: 10 former Samsung employees were arrested for industrial espionage charges for giving China chipmaker 10nm tech. Executives and researchers allegedly leaked DRAM technology to China-based CXMT, resulting in trillions of losses in Korean won. Remember that Syndicate analogy? Yeah, it pretty much fits. This happened just a month ago, and we're watching companies like CXMT and so many other China-based manufacturers go through and start to build out and build up their own set of pipelines for creating that actual RAM that we all need. And the craziest part is, we may not even be able to get a hold of it at all, simply because China is having massive restrictions on whether or not they will export that RAM to other countries, or at the fact that even other countries may not even accept that RAM in the first place. This is going to put a lot of people into a very precarious situation, where we've seen companies like Nvidia, Micron, SK Hynix, Apple, and so many others go through and even start to restrict actual amounts of RAM available, or even then say that we're going to be dealing with an actual RAM crisis for another year plus or so. But it's not just that. It turns out that these other manufacturers are in fact building out their own new fabs. Tom's Hardware also reported yesterday saying this: Micron starts building a new 3D NAND fab in Singapore. Fab 10B promises to more than double the company's local flash production capacity. But you see, that's not the only place that Micron is in fact building out a new fab for RAM and even NAND storage. It turns out that just a few weeks ago, they broke ground in fact, New York, of all places, to build a new fabrication center there as well. So we're seeing all of these companies go around, build new fab centers, have actual espionage happen inside of them, and also are stating that they're going to be going around and controlling the actual production of RAM across every other company. In fact, it's so bad, they're calling other companies DRAM beggars because of it, as companies like Microsoft, Google, and etc. are booking massive hotel stays inside of where those fabricators are, and then trying to get deals with them after renegotiating those long-term agreements. And it looks like Microsoft may be one of the companies that got the deal done. And that's incredibly important because we're seeing other companies as well turn to those actual fabricators like CXMT and even Chinese RAM because of this actual issue. According to WCCF Tech, HP is reportedly left with limited choices but to turn to Chinese memory suppliers like CXMT to combat DRAM shortages. This was back just a few weeks ago. So we're seeing companies like HP and many others having to rely on actual companies like CXMT, who are then doing actual espionage with companies like Samsung to create that DRAM that everybody so desperately needs. Could this be a new way of actually removing some of the actual pressure that we're seeing with DRAM supply? But maybe just the fact that having OpenAI contain 40% of all the actual non-processed DRAM wafers really isn't a good thing overall, now is it? But there may be some light at the end of the tunnel because apparently it turns out, according to Tom's Hardware, RAM prices are now showing signs of leveling out, albeit at inflated levels. Some modules are stabilizing in price, while increases on more performant kits are tapering off. And it's not just RAM that's going to be staying at inflated prices. It also turns out that NAND storage, basically your SSDs, and even GPUs are going to be impacted as well. We've already seen that right now. And more rumors of the 50 class cards, especially the 5070, no longer being in production, especially on the 16GB model, reducing the amount of VRAM you have as a customer and consumer, yet raising the price on that floor for those graphics cards. Hey guys, how about this? If you want to go ahead and have people buy your systems, maybe just, I don't know, lower the price. Same thing with NVIDIA, same thing with AMD, same thing with all of these PC component manufacturers who are going around and wondering, what are we going to do when this AI bubble actually pops? The fact that TSMC, even on their own, said, hey, maybe we shouldn't put all our eggs in this one basket that Jensen is going around and trying to shop to everybody while he grows to a $5 trillion market cap corporation and Dell is handed there with just a bag in their hand saying, why won't anybody buy our AI-based laptops? But the thing is, I think this lends more credence to what's actually happening with this set of generation and what we're going to be seeing. This may not be a 7-year cycle. No, this may in fact be a 10-year console generation, and this may push things farther back than people in fact anticipated. When we're watching companies like CXMT do actual espionage inside of their own buildings and going through and trying to get Samsung secrets, we're also seeing other companies as well try to build out new fab centers like we saw with Micron. The thing is though, these fab centers take time to build, a couple of years actually. But the thing is, ramping up to light up production on what these companies need for their AI data centers really is going to be the concerning part, and time will be the actual factor. We've watched companies like Microsoft and Satya Nadella even admit to everybody on their own that, hey, we have actual warehouses and AI data centers full of hardware literally sitting cold, doing nothing because we don't have the actual power to turn them on. But yet they're still building out infrastructure and actual fab centers for these warehouses that are literally running cold. So it's going to get to a point that this bubble is going to burst. But the thing is, everybody, in my opinion, has been counting Microsoft out. We've seen Copilot be the lowest used AI across all the boards, compared to Gemini, compared to ChatGPT, and even Grok. And the thing is, AI is going to be implemented, in my personal opinion, in the next Xbox console, hybrid PC, whatever you want to call it. It's already being shoved into Windows right now and causing massive issues overall, where people can't even shut down their PCs. No, I'm not kidding. But it turns out Microsoft may in fact have a slight ace up their sleeve, and they may be trying to buck the trend and even get ahead of the curve, because as everybody begs for RAM, it turns out Microsoft may have struck out the actual deal, and nobody could have seen this coming. According to Jez Corden, Microsoft has reportedly scored a big memory supply deal with SK Hynix, which, in case you missed it, is one of the world's biggest DRAM, NAND, and AI memory makers. If you don't know this either, SK Hynix and Samsung are the two major pieces of memory manufacturers that are in the PlayStation 5 and even the Xbox Series X and S consoles. I think what you're going to be seeing is Microsoft striking this deal with SK Hynix to do a couple of things specifically. Number number one, absolutely fund the ability to go ahead and put more RAM into their data centers, which clearly are in fact cold right now. But also number two, possibly maybe try and restrict the ability of even raising the prices of their consoles. But who am I kidding? They're going to jack up the price anyways. They totally are. They're going to see another price increase this generation on both PS5, on the Xbox, and also on the Nintendo Switch, because no company wants to leave any penny unturned. But the thing is, this could be an actual boon for the company, seeing as how they were in fact going around and having massive fights inside of those meetings trying to get those long-term agreements. But let's see what the article had to say and go from there. With Jez Corden saying this, Microsoft's AI ambitions may have just taken another major step forward. A new report claims the company has secured a massive high bandwidth memory deal with SK Hynix, big enough to send the chipmaker's stock soaring nearly 9% in a single day. With AI hardware demand exploding and every major player scrambling for supply, this kind of agreement might give Microsoft a serious edge in the race to build out next-gen cloud and AI infrastructure. In essence, corporations and data center hyperscalers are outbidding consumer goods manufacturers. As a result, consumer-grade products are being increasingly squeezed out of the picture as laptops, PC components, and even smart fridges feel the pinch. Pretty much any device with DRAM in its expected to or already will go up in price as tariffs and shortages continue to impact consumer products. So now does it kind of make sense why I brought up Syndicate earlier on in the video and actual Samsung employees getting caught trying to give secrets to CXMT to build out that RAM as well for 10 nanometers? We're watching the entire thing happen and unfold right in front of us right now. These multinational, multi-trillion-dollar companies are in fact fighting to go ahead and have as much technology pulled into their systems as they possibly can while restricting whatever you can actually have, even though they'll be more than happy to raise the price on you on a consistent basis. And I want to be upfront and clear about what this might mean for actual users or even gamers right now watching this kind of video. The thing is, I really don't think we're going to be seeing Microsoft use this deal that they've struck with SK Hynix to go ahead and reduce the prices or actually keep prices low on the next generation of systems or even then the current gen of consoles. No, what I think they're going to be doing instead is using that deal to fund more of their AI internal data centers, which means they're going to be focusing more on Copilot, which also means they're going to be creating that next-gen console to go ahead and increase the price, raise the floor, charge you more money, and then implement that AI tech into that system specifically, thereby keeping you latched into Copilot, basically trying to force you to use them rather than anything else. And this also ties directly into Game Pass. If they're going to go around and raise the floor of consoles and make it more expensive for you to buy, then what they're going to also do is make Game Pass seem more affordable, giving you that free tier ad option version, which of course is really nothing more than just watching 5 minutes of ads to go ahead and play for an hour a day. We're seeing Nvidia do the exact same thing, and this deal with SK Hynix may be that one kind of undercut play that nobody was expecting Microsoft to do to compete with something like GeForce Now. And that's how all of this could in fact tie together. Microsoft could be using this kind of actual RAM to not only create that high-end boutique console, but also remove the actual lower-end floor, giving people only one option who can't afford to buy a $1,000 system or a $2,000 PC. Use our Game Pass service, use our cloud service, be attached to us for everything, forever. Only use Copilot, only use what we give you, always be online. Give us your money every month. Recurring monthly spend is better than a one-time purchase for these companies, and they've all seen the dollar signs because of it. Even Nvidia's been trying it too. And that to me is where the real scary part of all of this comes in. Microsoft didn't make this deal to make things better for you. They made this deal to undercut Nvidia to compete with GeForce Now as an actual collective of true streaming services available for you to use and to compete in that space directly. Remember, Satya said that one of their biggest competitors is in fact short form media and even content in general. They're not talking about gaming on its own anymore. They're talking about the platform specifically, and they want to charge you the amount of money that you feel will give you the most amount of content for that each and every month. Instead of going around and having multiple sub services, they'd rather have you pay for one sub specifically. And if you can get more from Game Pass and stream everything from the cloud, then they'll do whatever they can to prove that. But the article continues by saying this: SK Hynix is one of the world's largest memory chip makers and has become central to the race to mainstream and commercialize artificial intelligence platforms based on large language models, or LLMs, and other similar tech. Its high bandwidth memory systems are often specifically designed for AI workloads, and as profitability increasingly becomes an issue for investors, companies like Microsoft are looking to boost efficiency as a top priority. Microsoft's AI non-Azure products are powered partially by OpenAI, which is presently history's most efficient cash incinerating machine, burning millions per day with profitability well out of sight. Microsoft and other AI hyperscalers are in something of a race to become the platform du jour for AI. Google has significant advantage in that it owns YouTube, exclusive access to Reddit content for model training, exclusive rights to iOS Siri's chatbot, as well as a default AI option on Android. Microsoft's advantages revolve entirely around enterprise and government compliance. Copilot is embedded directly into Azure, which is trusted the world over and is uniquely proficient at navigating complex local laws and data protection rules, both internally and at a legal nation-state level. Oh, do you hear that? Do you hear that? That entire meme about Syndicate from the very beginning? Is it not clicking for you now? Yeah, the crazier part is not only is Microsoft using government contracts and enterprise to feed their Copilot AI, NVIDIA is also working directly with Palantir. You know, that company that just likes to murder? Yeah. They're all together on this entire thing. Multinational, multi-trillion-dollar corporations using government data, actual cybersecurity, going around and monitoring everything you do, learning local laws and everything about that in the enterprise space and government space to go ahead and control everything you do by going to companies like SK Hynix and buying more RAM. It can't get any worse, and in the end it will get worse because they'll use all that data, they'll use those local laws, they'll use that AI to control you in every aspect, and then control the actual entertainment you have, which will be the only escape you'll have from this Blade Runner Askew style hellscape that we all have to deal with. Yes, the $30 a month for having nothing but streaming services from their AI data centers of video games will be the only way you can actually escape the hellscape that they've created. You'll love to see it. And that's why I'm so terrified about this entire thing. We're watching these two giant monolithic trillion-dollar companies literally face off at each other, trying to go around and be the next big thing in AI, with NVIDIA using their own chips and feeding it to everybody else, but at the same time watching these companies backstab each other in small little ways to try and get a slight edge. Even the fact that Copilot AI competes with OpenAI, Microsoft still invested into them. And the same thing goes back around with NVIDIA and AMD and even Intel and everything else. This is a bubble, but at the same time, this is something that all these companies basically agreed upon, an oligopoly on technology basically. And that's where things are going to get even scarier because you never know who's actually going to be pulling the levers. And in the gaming space, you're going to either be priced out or you're going to sign up, and they're dying for you to sign up because they'll find any way to screw you and make you pay more money for a streaming service or the ability to actually not own your games at all and then have to go through and stream everything from their data centers that they've gone through and contracted with and then rebuilt out and then turned back on. And all of this is happening in front of everybody while not even realizing there could be, in fact, one saving grace. The one little device that everybody, in fact, clowned on when it first was announced because it didn't have the specs people were expecting a PC to have. The Steam machine. We're bringing it back to that, baby! Again, one of the actual possible ways you may in fact have actual compute power in your home in the coming future, which is entirely terrifying when you think about it. GPU prices increasing, CPU prices increasing, RAM being almost impossible to find at a decent price, and at the same time, all these companies basically working in cahoots together to go through and not only dock each other in port H, but also go around and screw you as a customer. This generation is going to be the most insane generation of gaming we've honestly ever seen. And we're going to see massive changes happen across the board. You're going to be seeing a bigger push into service models. And you can probably bet your sweet bippy you may even see PlayStation move into that direction as well. They already have the infrastructure for it. They've bought things that set them up to stream games, and they already have that in place. So I can honestly bet that at some point they're just waiting to see who folds first or who's successful in what they're doing, and then copy that and then move from that direction. basically just extending the actual life cycle of consoles right now, bringing people forward to the PS5 gen, but still raising prices on those systems because they'll more than likely have to restrike those deals with long-term agreements, and then watching as Microsoft does the exact same thing to their actual users. Microsoft left the console war. They lost the console war. Now they're fighting the platform war. And their biggest enemy, I thought, was in fact Steam, when in reality, that may not even be the case. Their biggest enemy in the platform war could be the one competitor that they've been partnering with the entire time, and that's Nvidia. And this could be one of the craziest things we've honestly ever seen happen in the gaming space, and things will change rapidly, quickly, over time. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comments section down below. Do you think Microsoft is planning to compete directly against Nvidia's GeForce streaming now? Or do you think this could in fact just be a power play for trying to go through and have the next generation system of consoles? Or could this be just another way to go ahead and screw you and leave you with less but charge you more? I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments section down below. And speaking of comments section, here's the comment of the day from yesterday's video. QB3540 says the only thing a scumbag hates more is a generous man that exposes their evil. QB, my boy, you are absolutely correct, because that totally ties into today's video with the Steam Machine and what Valve is trying to do with that, and giving you the actual opportunity to finally have some compute performance with hopefully it not costing an arm and a leg. And I think the funniest part is watching all these companies see how in fact evil they truly are to remove every opportunity from you and every bit of ownership from you as well. But hey, if you want me to see your comment or even go ahead and be part of the comment of the day, let me know what you guys have to say down below, and I'll pick the best one. If you want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and even hot takes in the gaming industry, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 107K. And I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access and most during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel as I wear a banana suit and get insulted by 800 people with TTS. It's a hell of a show. You don't want to miss it. Oh, also, I've got a second super secret channel called Oh No It's Alex Gaming, where I do reacts, video game essays, and even so much more. Maybe even someday, painting Warhammer miniatures live. Definitely check it out. But with all that being said though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!